You are 71 years old. The number in your bank account has never been higher. You should feel something, but you feel nothing. You scroll to the balance again, just to be sure. $940,000. You earned every cent of it the slow way, and you saved every cent of it the hard way. And now you sit in a cold house holding a warm phone, and you can't remember the last time you let yourself want something. Let's go back to the day it started. You are 24 years old. You get your first real paycheck, and it terrifies you. You grew up listening to your parents fight about money at the kitchen table long after you were supposed to be asleep. You swore you would never sound like that. So you make one rule: save first, spend never, worry always. It feels like control, and for the first time in your life, you feel safe. You open a savings account and you watch the balance like it's a heartbeat. $40, then $400, then $4,000. Every number is a small, clean hit of relief. And slowly, you start to love that feeling more than you love almost anything else. At work, they go out for lunch, but you bring the same sandwich in the same paper bag and eat it alone at your desk. 40 cents of bread and turkey instead of $12 at the cafe downstairs. You do that math every single day, and every single day the math wins. Your friends go out on Friday, but you don't, and you tell them you're tired. The truth is the drinks cost $22 and the cab home costs $15. And that is $37 that could be growing instead. So you stay home and you watch the balance and you tell yourself you're being smart. And you are being smart, and that is exactly the trap. The trap never feels like a trap. It feels like a virtue. You keep the thermostat at 64 degrees all winter, and you wear your coat inside the house. The zipper breaks and you fix it with a safety pin instead of buying a new one. You reuse the same tea bag twice. You drive a car with 190,000 miles on it, and you are proud of that number too. Every dollar you don't spend feels like a dollar you defeated. Money, to you, is not a tool. It is a scoreboard, and you are winning. Here's what nobody tells you about winning that game. The scoreboard never tells you when to stop. Then you meet someone. She is kind, and she laughs with her whole face, and she likes you for reasons you can't quite explain. One night she asks if you'll take her to the coast. 2 nights, a small hotel, maybe $140 a night. You finish the math before she finishes the sentence. You hear yourself say, maybe next year. She smiles and says, okay. You don't notice that the smile is a little smaller than the one before. Next year comes, and you say maybe next year again. You marry her anyway, at the courthouse on a Tuesday, because a wedding is just an expensive party that buys you nothing. You tell yourself she understands, and she does understand. That is the saddest part of all. She understands you so completely that she simply stops asking. She stops asking for the coast. She stops asking for the dinner out. She stops asking for anything at all. A marriage doesn't end in one loud night. It ends in 1,000 quiet maybe next years. A daughter arrives. You love her in a way that frightens you with its size. And so you do the only thing you have ever known how to do. You protect her the only way you understand. And you save. You start a college fund before she can even walk. On her 7th birthday, she asks for a party with the bouncy castle. The one all her friends had. The bouncy castle is $200 for a single afternoon. You buy a cake from the store, and you tell her this is better, this is just family. She blows out the candles and she smiles, because she is 7, and she loves you, and she doesn't know yet what she was supposed to want. You save $200. You don't notice that you also saved the photograph that party would have become. You save instead of driving her to the lake. You save instead of the trip to the canyon she once circled in a magazine when she was 9. You tell her, someday we'll go. And you mean it, every single time you say it. Someday is the most expensive word you will ever use. It costs you everything, one delay at a time, and the bill never arrives where you can see it. There's a man at your office named Ray. Ray makes the same money you do, maybe a little less. Ray takes his family somewhere new every summer and comes back loud and sunburned and impossible. You think Ray is a fool who will work until the day he dies. You feel sorry for him quietly, the way only a careful man can. Hold on to Ray, because you'll need him at the end of this. Your father gets sick 3 states away. A last-minute plane ticket is $600. You decide to drive instead, to save it, and you'll leave Friday right after work. He dies on Thursday. You save $600 and you are not in the room. There is no balance high enough to refund that. But you still don't learn the lesson. You go home, and you grieve, and then you go back to the spreadsheet. Because the spreadsheet is the one thing in your life that has never let you down. The years do the thing that years do, and they speed up. The saving gets serious now. 100,000, then 3, then $500,000. You get good at it, and you get a reputation for it. He could squeeze a nickel until it screamed, people say. They say it like a compliment, and you take it like one. Your daughter grows up and moves out and calls on Sundays. Then every other Sunday, then only on the holidays. You tell yourself she's just busy, and she is busy. But she also learned, from watching you, that love in your house was rationed like everything else. She learned that the answer was usually no, and that wanting things out loud was a kind of weakness. You taught her that without ever saying a single word. Your wife leaves the way water leaves a glass on a sunny windowsill, not all at once. You glance over one day and the level is just lower than it used to be. And then one morning she is simply gone, quietly, and the house is paid off and silent, and entirely yours. You have so much room now, and you keep the thermostat at 64. Ray retires that same year. He sells the house, buys a small camper, and sends a postcard from a coastline you have never seen. On the back he has written 4 words. Wish you were here. You file the postcard in a drawer and you go back to your statements. You are still winning, and you are sure of it. Your knees go first and then your back. The doctor says the canyon is still possible, technically, if you don't wait much longer. You have $900,000 and you wait. Old habits don't retire just because you do. You keep saving out of a fear that no longer has a name, for an emergency that already came and went years ago while you were too busy saving to attend it. Your daughter has a child now, a little boy. He is 4 years old, and he calls you by your first name because he doesn't know you well enough to call you anything warmer. They visit once, at the holidays, and the boy asks if you have any toys at your house. You don't, because you never bought any. Toys are a waste, you always thought. Children grow out of them in a year. He plays with the buttons on the cold radiator instead. And then they go home, and the house is silent again. You could have filled a whole room for him for the price of one good dinner, but you saved that too. And now you are 71 years old, and the number has never been higher. And you finally have the time, and you finally have the money, and you do not have the one thing both of them were supposed to buy. You can't get the years back. You can't taste food the way you used to. You can't climb the stairs to the attic where the suitcases are. The suitcases you bought at 26 and never once used, still wrapped in their plastic. You saved those too. You open your banking app one more time. $940,000. And finally, far too late, you understand the mistake. It was never that you saved. Saving was wise, and saving was right. The mistake was that you never once decided what you were saving for. You treated the money like the destination, when it was only ever the ticket. A ticket you held so tightly that you never let yourself use it. Money is not wealth, money is stored life. It's the hours you traded away, frozen on a screen, waiting to be turned back into living. And stored life has an expiration date that the balance never shows you. You can't take it with you, but that was never the real warning. The real warning is this. You can't take it with you, and you can never get back the years you'd have needed to spend it. The grave doesn't take your money. It takes your last chance to ever use it. There is a strange truth about money that no one ever teaches you. A single dollar is worth the most when you have the very least. The first $1,000 you save can change your entire life. It can keep the lights on, and it can buy you one night of sleep without fear. But the $900,000, stacked on all the others and spent on nothing, cannot buy back a single Friday you stayed home alone. This is what they call diminishing returns. And your heart understood it decades before your spreadsheet ever would. Past a certain point, more money buys less life, not more. And you blew past that point years ago, and you just kept on climbing. Now think about Ray. Ray earned no more than you did and worked a few years less. Ray took the trip every summer, and Ray flew to his father on the Thursday. Ray has a camper and a sunburn, and 100 ordinary photographs you would trade your whole account to own. His balance is smaller than yours, but his life is not. And he was not reckless. He saved, too. He just never once forgot the point of it. He kept enough for the storm, and he spent the rest on the daylight. Here's what all that saving was supposed to do. It was supposed to let you sleep at night. It was supposed to let you say yes when yes actually mattered. It was supposed to be the courage to take the trip, not the reason you stayed home from it. Security was never the goal. Security was supposed to be the floor you stood on to reach for a life. And you sanded that floor for 50 years and you never once looked up. You are 71 and the number has never been higher. And now, at last, you feel something. You feel the weight of every maybe next year. You feel the silence of a house you kept freezing to save $40 a month. You feel the plastic still wrapped around suitcases that were always meant to fly. You feel a 4-year-old's small hand on a cold radiator in a house with no toys. And you understand, too late to use it, the only money lesson that ever truly mattered. Money was never meant only to be saved. It was meant to be turned, at the right moment, back into the one currency that was ever real: time and people and the coast at sunset and the Thursday you should have flown. So if you are not yet 71, if there is still a someday you keep pushing further out to make the number a little bigger, then hear this from the far end of the life you're building. Save, please save, because the fear is not wrong and the discipline is not the enemy. But set the day. Pick the year you stop only collecting and start also spending on the people, the places, the small, loud, ordinary joys. Decide what the money is for. And then, when that day comes, find the courage to spend it on the simple act of being alive. Buy the bouncy castle, take the coast, fly on the Thursday. Don't become the richest man in a cold and silent house. The balance will not remember you, but the coast would have.